So I got 97 Rogue. This is one I've been waiting on a while. I did pick it up not way too long after it launched. Yeah, I did the other videos where I covered the 97 X-Men that I had, and I'll of course put those all in the annotation if you're interested in checking that out. But when I reviewed every single one of them, when I finished the last one, it was only about 2 or 3 days after finishing the last review that I picked up Rogue, if I remember right. So there she is. My primary concern with picking her up is that I have had a Rogue for a long time. I think she was part of the Build a Juggernaut wave. Is that the one? I think that's where I got her from, the Build-A-Figure wave Juggernaut. I've wondered if there was any reason for me to buy her at all. Yes, she's a cartoon variant. But will she be altered in a way that makes me not necessarily like her? Will she be different enough that I end up liking both? Will she be different enough that she works on a cartoon level so it makes sense for me to have her? Look, sometimes I do have multiple of certain characters. I like to have one solid definitive on the shelf. This is true. But every now and then, it doesn't bother me to have a cartoon version of He-Man as opposed to a comic book version of He-Man, as opposed to the, you know, standard original figure version of He-Man. These don't bother me. And it's true for a lot of other things as well. I have multiple Spider-Man. Sometimes they're just different suits. I don't really have different classic suits of Spider-Man. I have the one that I like, which was the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man. I held off until I bought that one specifically. I have cartoon variants of the Ghostbusters, you know, the real Ghostbusters, and then I have movie versions of the Ghostbusters from the Plasma series. But when I bought the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers original team, I bought them once from a single collection, then Hasbro came out with the Lightning collection, and I never bought them again. I did not buy those figures, I already had them on my shelf. So what I'm saying is that sometimes I'm particular. I need one. Other times, I feel like the differences are varied enough and speak to me in different ways that make me want both of them. Is she going to be one of those times? I don't know. There's only one way to find out. I need to open her, and I need to compare her to the other Rogue I have. Let's do it. Alright, here we go. Rogue. Now, let me adjust the camera a little bit, put us up at an angle here so that we can see exactly what I'm trying to look at. There she is. We've talked about this. I prefer these boxes. I really do. I tend to find that the classic retro card back packaging for figures is the absolute best. It's the best. You know that it's not been opened. This isn't going to be a character switch kind of situation. You don't run into that here. Also, they are perfect for in-box collectors. This is a perfect carded thing. It's easy to hang on the wall. It doesn't give you any trouble. It usually has more than enough room for art and things like that. And you could see the entire figure. That is what you bought right there. Perfect. And I'm not even making a joke. Perfect. The back has a cross-sell. Congratulate them on that, by the way. Because I don't know why, and we've talked about this before, these are getting more rare. I'm seeing a lot of these figures that are coming out that just like put the one figure on the back, or they'll do something like, not a cross-sell, but like a, just like an artwork or whatever. and you don't know who's in the line. Like, you don't know who else you need to get for said wave, and unless you're really paying attention, and you're like a collector, and there are new collectors born every day, and I don't mean kids, I mean there are new adult collectors that come into lines every day that did not have this as a hobby, then came across somebody that did it, and all of a sudden it seemed possible. Or they found the one toy line that was coming back out that kind of got them into the idea. Or they've always wanted to do it, but they just didn't know how to get started and whether or not it was worth them diving in. They picked a toy line and they jumped in. If this cross-sell is not here, because I can do, and I do this every time we look at these packagings, and there's a reason I do this. Magneto, got him. Wolverine, got him. Storm, got her. Rogue, got her. Bishop, got him. Gambit, got him. I like all of them. Fantastic. But you'll notice that sometimes I'll go, Magneto, got him. Wolverine, got him. Rogue, got him. Storm, got her. Bishop, not feeling him. Don't want him. Was never a Bishop fan. Gambit, I've got a good Gambit right now. Leaving him out of the... That's what I do. Because that's what the cross-sell is for. I'm not meaning to rant, but I think it's important. So every time there's a cross-sell, I like to point it out. I like to go over what I have, what I don't have, and whether or not I care about the characters that happen to be in the cross-sell at all. I think that's important. Let's open her up. All right, Rogue. Here she is. Now, this looks fairly solid, just at first glance. I'm not 100% sure how I feel yet, but we're going to get into that as we go. First things first, let's look at the face. Is that a good face sculpt? I think it's decent. It looks like a cartoon. It looks like a cartoon brought to life. I don't hate it. That's a pretty good profile here. That's a pretty good profile there. I think she could pull it off. I think that's a really good face. The hair is not bad. It's nicely sculpted. I like the bandana. It doesn't seem to be getting in her way either. I could turn the head all the way around. That's solid. She can look down for the most part. She can't really look up, and she is the kind of character that's supposed to be able to fly, so maybe that's a bit of a problem. But the hair is pretty good. I'm going to give it to him this time. That's pretty good that it's like not in the way. I'm actually impressed by that. We don't have any floaty pads here. That was something that I remember on the last one. This is its own piece right here. She does have the single joint arm. Doesn't seem like it's too big of a deal, but it is something that's worth calling out. I'm noticing also that this jacket part is separate, and it almost makes me wish that we'd have done the Mr. Fantastic thing here, where her arms, like if this part of the jacket, if there was a switch out for her arms that gave her, you know, just the green, and that would have been really cool, because then we could have had just the bodysuit. Sorry, I knocked the camera. That would have been actually really cool. I'd have been into that. She does have the double knee. It goes up. She cannot kick her own butt. Her calf actually gets in the way. She's got a real good calf muscle. She's got good muscular build all around, actually. She seems like she's got a pretty solid body cap going on here. Legs are fairly thick. Everything seems pretty well done. The midriff goes over pretty well. I'm noticing the belly button. This belt is pretty solid. This all goes up, and she has a real chest. Not to get preachy, it depends on what you're going for in toys. That's important. Just like I said, there are different variants. I'm having trouble getting her standing up. I'm positive she can do it. She's got the feet for it and everything. She really does. She has like the flat boots, but she's giving me a lot of trouble standing up. Like, I cannot get her to balance. There, got her. That was a real pain. I didn't like that. I wonder if her hair makes her off balanced, or if it's the way that they're connected. Because she's got like this hard lean forward. Like, would that maybe help? Because yeah, she has like a weird lean forward. it kind of comes up and she's kind of like sticking her chest out. But what I was going to say is that she's got a real shirt. This is like, it feels more like a real fabric because, and like I said, I'm not trying to get ridiculous here, but we got to be honest. Oftentimes that we see women characters, right? They don't go out of their way to be a little more realistic about the fact that women have these. They have them, okay? And, well, this is a perfect example. That's very realistic. That's very realistic. They come out, they're very real looking, and their body form, and I like them quite a bit. Not, I like the, you get what I'm saying. I like the fact that they went out of their way to make it a little more real in terms of how clothing works on people. Instead of where we get this very often, and I just knocked Batman over, but we often get the Catwoman effect, right? Where oftentimes it's almost as if they're naked and the fabric clings to them in such a way that each one is individual. Now I know different bodysuits, different styles and things like that will react differently on different body types and so on and so forth. I'm not saying that you can't get that, but oftentimes if you see cosplayers wearing this outfit, this is what it looks like. That's realistic. I don't hate that at all. I'm actually kind of happy they've been going out of their way to kind of put together more realistic clothing. Clothing that actually fits on a person, and they go out of their way to add little things like wrinkles and stuff like that. That is a very mild thing, but it makes a huge difference when the clothing looks real as opposed to the clothing looks like it was painted onto a naked body. It's just, it is a different kind of effect, and it does make a difference when you're looking at these characters from all angles. Speaking of all angles, you'll notice that Rogue, at least in figure form, was not robbed of any of her assets. I am once again not attempting to be vulgar, but it's there, guys. They didn't take it away from you. The cake is fully present, and oh my God, is it present. She might have the best butt in literally all of Marvel Legends right now. Because holy crap. Now, I gotta ask, is she as good or better than my Rogue? I'm gonna have to bring the Rogue down here to check. One, she does come with a punching hand here, and mine has a scuff on the thumb, like this little black thing here, like this scuff mark. I wasn't too happy about that. And she also has a naked hand, and the hand here is holding a glove, and I love that effect. Like, I absolutely love that effect. I think that is so cool. And I don't know if this was a thing on my other Rogue. I did have a naked hand on my Rogue, but I don't remember a glove holding hand. And because that is a thing at all, we are going to pull the hand off here, and we're going to let this cuff come off, and we're going to put this like this, because I love that effect so much that we're going to do something with it, right? We're going to do something like this for right now. And let's bring in the other Rogue. And here she is. Here's my comic book Rogue. And this has been one of my favorite figures for a very long time now. A very, very long time. I really like this Rogue. Always have. Like, I just love her. I just love her. So this is one of the reasons I was so concerned with buying a new Rogue. Now I will admit there are problems with my old Rogue. One is that these upper boot areas are like cuffs, and they've always kind of bothered me. They've got like a ring thing here and then like a cuff thing, and they're always kind of bouncing around, and they don't really hold their shape or form. They're a problem. We have now eliminated that problem with 97 Rogue. It is sculpted directly into the figure. The boots are a part of the figure, not an extra piece. Love it. Absolutely love it. Her legs are a little slimmer. Her legs are bigger. They gave her bigger legs. In fact, she's bigger all around. Everything about her is bigger. Yeah, I think so. I think she stands taller. Yeah, she stands a little taller. She's bigger. She's a little wider. She's got bigger legs. She's got a bigger midsection. Everything about her is just a little bit bigger. Cool. We got the hand feature here, the jacket. Now this is going to come down to some personal preference. I like the belt hanging slightly to the edge. I like that it's like a hip belt and it doesn't go on straight, or mine just has always kind of had a lean to it. I like that a lot, actually. I don't know why. It catches my eye. I like it. I like the hip belt thing. I don't know. Do I have a thing for it? I don't know. I just like it. Where she doesn't have that. She just has a straight belt. Not that it's any kind of, not that it hurts anything, but I notice it. It's just one of the little features of my old Rogue that I notice. I also like the bandana on the old Rogue comes off and kind of flails into the hair. I like that. This is just a bandana. It doesn't, there's no indication other than where it is that the headband does anything, where this headband is tied on and you can see it come off of the Rogue. I really love that effect. I think that's fantastic. But the old Rogue, her hair does get in her way. It's the reason I kind of move her and often have her take like a stance kind of like this to kind of put the hair over one shoulder. I do that on purpose because the hair gets in the way. The top section, of course, is a little bit different. Maybe you could argue that hers are bigger. I don't know that that really matters one way or another to me. As I said, sometimes I like the comic book design. Sometimes I like a more realistic clothing design. She has a more realistic clothing design, which is kind of wild because she's going to be a cartoon, where she has a more comic book design where basically this is just painted onto her body. The X is a little lower as opposed to the X being a little higher. I actually think I like the X being a little higher and kind of hidden behind the coat. The coat is much more solid here, though. Like, it's solid and it's shorter. See? It goes up and right here, you see what I'm getting at? The coat is much higher on the old Rogue, where the coat comes down a lot further on the new Rogue. And, of course, cake comparison. Oh my gosh. They're both nice, but wow, what is going on here? You didn't mess around putting a butt on Rogue, especially with all those pictures that I'm seeing where people are mad because, like, Rogue is, well, from some of the images that people have seen, Rogue has been robbed of some of her assets. Even my wife said, "What happened?" And I said, "What?" And she goes, "Are they, like, ashamed?" She goes, "Women have butts. Women have boobs." And I said, I don't know what that is. I'm assuming that it's one frame of animation here and there that people are taking and making big deals about. We haven't seen the show yet. I'm sure the men are permaflexed, and I'm sure the ladies are rocking bodies that are almost unobtainable. I'm positive of it. I don't think we have much to worry about. So the question, out of these two Rogues, which one do I like more? And was it worth buying a new Rogue? Is there enough difference? I feel like, when I'm looking at the two of them, the color grades, the size, parts of this make me feel like it was more than okay to have a second Rogue on the shelf. And I'm curious. I guess I should have done it in the video, but we're at this point now. I'm not gonna. I bet that this Rogue looks better standing next to my Gambit now, because my Gambit is, is the 97 Gambit. So I'm under the impression that she will look better next to a cartoon Gambit. I mean, and then I need a more comic book variant Gambit to go alongside her. There are things that I like about each of them. There's something to be said for the colors on my original Rogue. There's something to be said for the way that the jacket is higher on this Rogue. I think that's good. But I don't like that she has this this marking here on her back inner thigh. Back inner thigh? That's what I'm going to call it right now. That's where they put all the lettering and everything like that on this Rogue. This Rogue, I'm guessing all the lettering is on her foot. Or maybe it might be hidden by the coat. I don't know. It's hard to tell, but I don't see it. Now, this Rogue has those little X's on the sleeves, and this Rogue has them as well, but it's more defined and easier to see because of the difference of the colors on that Rogue. It's hard to say which of these I like more. I think that you would do well with either Rogue. Maybe there's an argument to be made that this is still the Chase Rogue, and there's a reason for that. The comic book-esque variant Rogue is still a very Chase figure. People want it, people liked it. The new Rogue shares a lot of the same attributes, but is definitely different and is not the same thing. If you are not, and once again we're going to do this, if you are buying 97 Rogue, it is meant to look like the cartoon, the upcoming animation, X-Men 97. If you are looking for a comic book accurate Rogue, don't waste your time with the 97 Rogue. It would be stupid. That's what you're buying. I don't know why I see collectors do this all the time, and it honestly drives me crazy. It does. I come across it in Motu all the time. I just kind of ignore it. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and give mine because this is my channel. If you buy a figure like a He-Man and the bottom of the box says Revelation He-Man, that He-Man is designed to look like Revelation He-Man. He should not look like the He-Man you had growing up. I saw a lot of people complain about Gambit 97 when they kept saying, I don't like this Gambit, I think my Gambit's way better, I don't like this one's colors, blah blah blah. And I even heard people say he looks too much like a cartoon. He's X-Men 97 Gambit, specifically inspired by the upcoming X-Men 97. If he looks like a cartoon, it's because he is. Like, and it's not just that. It's with G.I. Joe Classified. There are people currently complaining about other characters in Classified that I can't help but laugh. Like, there's the upcoming Red Ninja that people are crying about, and they're like, no, she's supposed to have red sleeves all the way down and blah blah blah. And I'm like, if you're this far into the line and you haven't figured it out yet, there's G.I. Joe Classified, a modern interpretation of these figures had they come out today. And then there's the retro card line, which basically reimagines the old figures you grew up with out today. These are two different artistic expressions, and for what it's worth, action figures are articulated statues, moments frozen in time from an artist. If you were to buy Spider Armor Spider-Man, and it was just Renew Your Vows Spider-Man with some silver paint put on it, complain. That's wrong. That's not what you bought. if you buy cartoon animated series Spider-Man and then turn around and go, he doesn't look like that in the comics, I just don't get it. It's a thing that I've never understood. So to me, when I look at this, she looks like a cartoon. And I think I really like that. But I grew up in the comic book in terms of my more association with Rogue. So I really like this. It's really hard for me to choose which one of these I like more, because her colors really pop, and I like that. But her colors are a little more muted, and the green has like a sheen to it, but the yellow doesn't pop out at my eyes the way I'd like it to, where hers does. She has the hip belt. She has the normal belt. I like the hip belt, but she has the boots that I don't really like. And she has boots that are actually sculpted onto the character. They're boots. I like that. Basically, I don't think you'd go wrong with either of these rogues. I don't know that I can even pick a favorite right now off the top of my head like this. I'm going to have to give some real time to these rogues and see which one catches my eye on the shelf more often from this point forward, because I don't know right now. I'm caught in between things I like and don't like, and prefer and don't necessarily prefer. I think you do well with either of these rogues. And I don't even think you can argue articulation, which is another argument altogether. They seem to have the exact same articulation, except she's like bigger. So had she got the double joint pinless elbows, she'd have won like that. But she didn't. She has pin legs. She has pinless legs. In fact, I think this whole character is pinless. There's an argument to be made there. Pinless figures are arguably better engineering and look better in every other aspect. When you're doing photography and whatnot, you like to have pinless figures. So I don't know. But I think my bottom line here is that it's Rogue, and she looks great, and I like her. Solid 97 Rogue. Happy to have it on my shelf, and looking forward to the other X-Men 97. I see that they're out now. I see that I can get them. I've got to wait. I've got to wait. I've got 3 more shelves that I'm buying for this room. That'll finish the shelf over there, finish the shelf behind me, and replace this shelf right here. Once that's done, I can go back to buying figures. But it's not like we don't have plenty of stuff to open. Later on.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.